All right. Hello, everybody. And yeah, just kidding. We are, oh, a couple of scalable things to point out. We are going to just continue. I am going to finish these thoughts and, oof, that's kind of scary. Also, scalable things. So this is kind of like a Boy Scout thing too, because I was in Boy Scouts growing up until I think once I was officially a Boy Scout, I was given the option to stay. I stuck it out for like a year, and then I was like, nah, and I moved on to sports, and so I made the transition to sports. But anyways, the transition make it sound like that, but in Boy Scouts they teach you, like if you get lost, don't panic, you know, survey your surroundings, like take a look around and try to make sense of it. Because one of the biggest risks of being out in the wilderness, or at least in the American wilderness, which I'm sure wildernesses are the same everywhere, at least on this level. But it is important to note that this advice isn't one size fits all, but it kind of is. Anyways, problem solving. So wait, where am I? Like I don't know. So I usually put torches on the left as I'm going out, and then that way I know the way back. So and even if it's left or right, whatever, just the pattern. And that's a cybersecurity thing. So we're not protecting against actual signatures of viruses anymore. And so first it was like, okay, here's a piece of code and it's doing this. So now we're looking for this. So we were looking for the exact same piece of code. Well, anyone who writes code knows right away, well, I'll just write it a little differently and completely change the signature. So then it throws it off. Well, aha, well, we caught on to that. So now we're searching for, okay, pieces of a signature. Oops, and also I didn't set an alarm. I do like the 30-minute videos one more. When I have something important to say, yes, the 30-minute videos are definitely two, 215, that's 220. 250, 28, 240. All right. Close enough. And that yields me 27 minutes on our two. All right. That'll work. Sorry. And even just communicating that's a way of problem solving dynamically, being flexible about using technology. So, and I'm still not a whiz. Like, I feel like more and more like that typical dad that's like trying to figure out the gadgets and gizmos and, way behind the times and all that good stuff. Like all of the things that we kind of mock and ridicule growing up, and it's like funny to joke about. But then we're like, uh-oh, careful, you're becoming your parents. And lo and behold, yeah, we become our parents. So I don't know. And it's a tale as old as time, but yet it is funny and it bears repeating. I don't know. But then it's like, does it really? Oh wait, whoops. I initiated a connection with that one, and then this one. And then, so right there, I caused a deadlock. And that's what happens when you click too much. Like, and see, someone that understands that back in the old, like, Windows 98 and Windows XP days, is if you clicked something more than once, every time you clicked, you sent a request, and that would hang. And so then that compounds exponentially the problems. Like, you didn't just mess up, you messed up like 10 ways. Just by every time you click, you're messing up another time, and you're forcing the computer to do like basically backflips trying to figure out what you want. Oh, but I want same request, same request, same request. And that's what it sounds like to a computer. And so now we've been able to make machines like handle that. We've been able to code and actually design at the core structure of machines, like within the code and the hardware and the software, the logical part and the physical part. Like we've now been able to design things like, okay, if you have more requests coming in from this person, drop them until this request is handled or have a timeout. Like if the request isn't addressed in like 10 milliseconds, because even like that's kind of like eternity, like, or even like 10 clock cycles, then drop it. Like, so you're giving it a chance to be addressed. So if it's just a blip somewhere along in the network, then okay, fine. And that's like the same talking about TCP, UDP. Like TCP, you're the send act response. So you connect, you have like or you ask to connect, and then you have a reply that says, yes, you can connect, and then you connect, and then you send data. Like UDP, you're just spraying like a fire hose, and that's Netflix. Like you're getting your videos sprayed at you, like And that's it. And if you drop packets, or if like Adam Sandler's face like glitches or blurs out, and same with some of my older videos, that's why I need to go back and redo them, and that's why I don't do Twitch streaming and recording, is because my whole point. And granted, mind you, there's another way to address that problem. So Anthony who codes, or I forget what his actually tags are, and I feel weird tagging him, even though I do fully support his channel, and I love watching him stream and stuff. But anyways, that's kind of like that gray area for me. It's like supporting streamers, yet at the same time being a responsible streamer myself. I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of ethics to that. But no, Anthony, he does really good coding videos, and he does a YouTube for his actual plan stuff, and then he does a Twitch stream for his ad hoc stuff. Kind of like, I mean, I do my ad hoc stuff and then record it, and then if it's good, if I didn't violate anything too bad, like, because sometimes exploring these options and considering these problems, you get into some things like, I mean, politics and religion. That's like the worst things to mess up. Sorry. As I was like thinking, I gotta go look for wood. Let's go chop wood. So wait, we have an alarm. We have that. We're talking about problem solving. Okay. And I'm just trying to ditch the rest of that. Maybe take that. Yeah, if it's done. Anyways, then we'll drop it off and then go do some other task. But at the end of the day, not important. I mean, the important part is getting out. Like, and this is why, I kind of not justified, but in the same way I kind of am, like these videos, is because we're working on tools for education. Whoops, that's it. See, there's a glitch right there. I clicked it too many times, and somehow now it's caught up in communication. That probably will go, but it still exists here. And I'll click it again, even though I just said no. And see, it's easy for me. I wanted to do it right there. So even right there, anyone who's familiar with like being frustrated with like a family or relative clicking it more times, thinking that, oh, well, if you just click it more, it'll go faster. Well, yeah, that used to be the case with the machinery and the tech that they're used to. If it was slow or hanging, it just means that, you needed to bang on the side of it. Like thinking about TVs, like you wouldn't dream about banging the side of a TV now, like, and then you do, and you get those TikTok videos. Sorry, and that is an exact loop from I've said this before. See right there, I tried to do it again because that was my first choice. So it's still there. It's a discrepancy, and I know there's some ways to fix it, like putting stuff over it, but already, like, my troubleshooting, I don't know, it might be affecting the Minecraft server down the way. And even as someone who knows the importance of running machines properly, I improperly run machines. Not because I'm malicious or intentionally want to mess with them. No, it's because either I don't know, or I don't have the time or the bandwidth at that time to know. I mean, because we all forget things. Except when we're like on the clock. That's like you think about doctors and stuff. Like, well, doctors can't forget things. They need to always be on the spot, and that's why it's that stressful of an industry. Same with nurses, and like anyone in the medical field, like it's a very stressful injury because it or industry. You have to be on point all the time. Same with the military. Like, if it's a life or death situation, it's an extra stressful industry, and you're not always compensated the way that you feel or we feel, or but then you get into education too, and it all goes back to finite resources. And then are they really finite, or are they just mismanaged? Because then if you get to the point where you're like, okay, well, if we're all people and we're all trying to solve these problems, and we're all whoops, actually we don't need that, then why don't we just all work together and solve them? And then you get into like, oh, that's the hippy dippy, like, okay, and still let's see. Oh, it almost did. And then, oh, okay, let's not mess with it too much. I might break the server, and see, that's another defense mechanism that's coded into a lot of systems is if a process hangs or if it gets held up, then it has a timeout and then it just gets restarted. And so like that right there, that'll get washed out the next time I restart, or the next time I close the game and join it back again. Because then it'll start fresh. Like every little piece in Minecraft, like everything in here has a location and address in it. And not only that, a coordinate associated with it. See, like we're at position 261, or whatever, 26177 negative 365. So that coordinate is where I'm standing at right now. And so one below that, so 76, Wait. So I don't gain a whole altitude, but I do when they're on. And that could be because like chests are slightly smaller. See how like it's lower? So 77, 77. But when here, you're a full block, 76, 77. So then you're into like half blocks. And right there, discrepancies, like room for error when problem solving. Oh, that's why engineering is so, it used to be such an exclusive field, is because these are the things you need to take into consideration when you're designing something or building something. Like, so that box, you can see the outline. Like they left that in so you could kind of like see, oh, that's like the hitbox of it. See? I can hit it even though I should be hitting the dirt, but then the black outline. So even the graphic is smaller. Sorry, that was a way tangent and a rabbit hole. All suffice to say that, and it's smack. No. Um, Actually, let's put this gold somewhere. That's what I was trying to do. But then I saw like, yeah, they're both consolidated here. Let's do that. Drop the gold there. Best thing to do is just to not mess with it. Don't touch it. Don't leave it. Trust the processes that, or the processes that Microsoft, Mojang, and Minecraft. Well, that is Mojang. Basically, Mojang had it for a long time. It still is, and then I think Microsoft owns it now. I don't know. Either way, I trust the people that built this thing to know that that's a thing. And even if not, it's a non-issue. Like it's only taking up one space. So that's why, like, I don't know. It drives me nuts when some people are such perfectionists that they would like do that. And even though I want to, I understand. Yeah, the conundrum. I don't know. Back to the whole Christian theme, like the snake eating the apple. Oh, ding. And you can have like all these false confirmations. But really, like any religion, anytime like someone's trying to. Oh, wow. I was going to say, we have a lot less llamas, but I think because they're spreading out, because now that we're adding more rooms, more areas. Yeah, now they're exploring over here. Maybe despawning. I don't know. I don't know how that all works now. Like if you close your eyes and turn away, do they? Oh, although already I can see. Let's actually like. So they're not. I mean, granted, it doesn't matter, and we've proven that it doesn't matter with llamas, like because they don't get killed in minecarts when you start. And you know that's kind of messed up to say stuff like that, but in real world, you know, you've got the warning labels on buckets, like with kids falling in. Like unfortunately, that was based off of some accident that happened, or either real or perceived. Actually, now that I say that, it might not have actually happened, but it might have came close enough to warrant saying, "Hey, we need to inform people about this. If there's one thing we can tell them about this product, it's, you know," and that's what warning labels are. And people abuse that because they have a job to do. There's entire jobs called marketing jobs that mean to sell you a product, and not for nefarious ways. It's business, and you know, it's the way of the world. So, and that's why, I don't know, a lot of this is like common sense to people that live in capitalism, but then, you know, and that's not even saying like one's better than the other. Like I was starting to say on the other video, you know, we're all capitalists, communists, socialists, everything. It's like, you know, if someone's asking you, are you this, this, or this, you just kind of say yes, because pieces of it, we all are, you know, starting to talk like Yoda there, but we all have common sense enough to know that pieces of all of these forms of government, yes, they're good, but it's not a perfect system. And that's basically like summarizing every form of government. And then once you understand that, then it's easier to say, okay, well, let's look at how we can solve these issues given the tools and constraints that we have. And then there, now you're a UN diplomat or whatever. So, and then it just matters how much time you have. Well, we can't all wait for everybody to be completely professional. And by the time they've had, you know, 20 years of experience, the problems have changed. Like, and you're trying to hit a moving target. And like, and so then you describe it that way. So, okay, so we need training to be dynamic. Well, up until recently, that wasn't the case because it was so expensive, so cumbersome to get official training that's even worth anything. Like, so then, all right, let's train the trainers. You know, if we can't do that, let's try to solve this problem by educating more people that can do better training in less time or whatever the constraints are. Say it's and again, this varies from industry, and really everybody So sorry, there's a constant and then there's a variable. Talking about how we did the science GED thing the other day. So the constant is like there's always going to be anxiety from trying to learn something. There's always going to be someone being like, "Hey, and like these classes, like I mean, if you could consider these Minecraft Musings classes, like they're never ending, kind of to a point. I mean, of course they end, but it's like, I mean, yeah. Anyways, like we're gonna just keep doing them until we figure out a way that it works. I don't know. That's a really weird and like way to say like, I think that's anything like all of us are doing. We're all trying to figure it out, but at the same time get what we need and then go experience a lot of things. So there's that. But then yeah, and it's the unfortunate thing is like because of different universes, we're solving problems that if we were aware that these were still problems in other areas of the world, or sorry, not even other areas of the world, because that is something. It's like we can only control our direct area and we only have the bandwidth to fix our problems. And so right there, like, sorry, I'm talking a little bit of like the personal thing right now. I just said flat out, I'm sorry, no, I can't, like to a request. Like, and that's without going into too much detail, it's because like I can't. Like the type of request is something that I'm just not good at doing. I can't do, and I don't have the time, the effort, the bandwidth, or even the possibility. So to say it politely, I just said no. I'm sorry, I can't. And then, but even then, like I'm struggling with it because I want to say yes. Like, and generally, like it doesn't even matter what the request is. My instant gut reaction is just to say yes. So much to the fact that I found myself in situations where I put myself out when maybe it wasn't the best decision. And unfortunately, we do have to decide that so much. And especially with things like, oh, whoops. Oh no, llama, don't. Well, we're not going to cask of Amontillado it or whatever it is. Yeah, that's a unpleasant Edgar Allan Poe where this guy gets buried alive. And again, that's reduced to a common meme where, you know, someone says like, qualifications, like it's a picture of a hole in the wall and it says qualifications must be small, nimble, not ask a lot of questions and not have experience with oh, sorry, is that? All right, someone with a dog outside. So even there, like unexpected stimuli in a situation or conversation. My apologies, but no, like ah, shoot. What was I even talking about? Distraction and derailed. Was trying to recover gracefully, and it was not a graceful recovery. But, anyways, problem solving situations. Like, and see right there, if this was a computer system running a lot of different things, like thinking a lot of different things, this is how our computers work is like, oh, well, let's try it again. Or, oh, please try again. And then, so I think that's why, like, I don't know. I'm not saying I am a robot, I am a computer. And that might be like what someone hears when like hearing even that. But I don't know. It just makes more sense to me because that is kind of how I think. That's how I've been trained to think was, to know the computer. You got to be the computer. And then just like watching things like Breaking Bad and how they have the drug dealer statue on his desk, like, you got to know your enemy and all that. And it's like taking it a little too far for Hank's universe. Like he wasn't really ready for that. He was like, "Well, that seems weird. That's strange. Nobody does that back home." And it was. And then to the people that were used to it, like it's like what is the internet to the all so many things. Like, you know, how do you describe to somebody that there's not good internet? Well, people have grown up with internet their whole lives if they're younger than a certain age. Like they've grown up with smartphones their whole lives if they're a certain age or younger. Like, and every time I talk about this, I think about my kiddos. Like they've got like I mean, they've got the stuff that could power like entire nations. Like, it's just the things, especially in comparison. Like, you see the memes about what took us to the moon and whether we did or didn't. And again, that's a sore spot for my families because we worked on NASA projects and stuff. So, like, even if it was, and same with 9/11 and all these other conspiracy things, is like, people died in that. So, whether it was a conspiracy or not, like, and so and that right there, there's some problem solving and solutions that right there, even if we do figure out something like that was a conspiracy, like how are you going to go about that? Like you can't, and that reminds me of a Rick and Morty which is horrible, horrible situations. But the sad fact of it is like people will bury the truth to protect an image if it serves a greater purpose. Like, oh, Batman. I mean, if you watch Batman, like, there's, and that's why if people have access to these forms of entertainment and problem solving, they just problem solve better. I mean, or it makes more sense. But so let's talk about Batman. The Dark Knight. He was the hero that they needed, not that they deserved. And it's like you don't always get what you want, but you find you get what you need. People have been saying it all the time, but like nobody is going to let you die if they can help it, but sometimes they can't help it, or sometimes they didn't know they could help it, and now it's too late. And that's why there's such high stress on the medical field. It's because you get doctors and EMTs and nurses and all this stuff where it's like, yes, now you're in a position where this is life or death. Also notice that the cobblestone unglitched at some point, and I don't even know, and I don't care. Like, it just disappeared, and now it's no longer an issue. It's a non-issue. And while we were talking about completely unrelated things, very important concepts and very complex topics, and then we've got some music like, all right, hurry up, time it out. So then that prompts me to check the time. All right, 21 minutes. That's pretty good. We're at a half hour thing. And anyways, it's so cringe to explain what you're doing on these videos, but yet we all want to do it. Fighting Cowboys, no exception. Waddles is no exception. And yet my point of that is I will still watch them pretty much whatever, and they'll keep saying it, and that's okay. I let them vent. Like Waddles, his first video of the new guide, he just said it like 50 times. Like, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, and it's like, yeah, you get to see that unbridled excitement about, and even right there, I just kind of might have befuddled that up, but it's like you see someone that's passionate about Minecraft, explaining and exploring Minecraft. Like that's that whole Rick bottled up. Where it gets sci-fi Black Mirror is where Rick Sanchez is like, and go watch Rick and Morty. See right there, did that glitch? Nope, that's good. Okay, anyways, and then drop off one of these. But that's an episode in Rick and Morty. And see, again, if you can afford Rick and Morty, or if you have connection to the internet, you can watch Adult Swim, and then all you have to do is watch commercials, and then you can watch Rick and Morty for free on a loop. And so right there, if everybody had internet, and if everybody had the moral okay to do so, because again, I have a friend who's concerned about Rick and Morty, and he's very religious, is a good way to describe it. He's very devout in his understandings and followings of Christianity. And that's fine. I'm not trying to belittle him or say that's wrong or anything. I'm just saying this is what it is. Um, and this is his opinion. It's not my opinion, and I disagree, but I respect his opinion to it. So, and basically what he's talking about is the pedophilia, the nod to pedophilia, and then the distinction of pedophilia. So, and right there, if it was out of context, someone would be like, oh, A-Rye supports pedophiles. No, I do not. Wait. However, I don't support him so much to the point where I want to stop it from ever happening. And I'm not out to punish people, to hurt people, to kill people. That's not anywhere on my radar. I'm into problem solving of a preventative nature to where everybody wins. So, and once you start like trying to, and that's because of all the problem solving I've done. Like, if you could just stop it from happening in the first place and make it a non-issue, and that's the thing, is like finite resources, and those resources include time. If you think about, let's just say there's a pool owner that has a pool, and they have an unsafe thing, some OSHA violation or something that they could be sued for, and yeah, now we're living it up and spending extra money on the pumpkins. But anyways, okay, so they have something, and someone gets hurt, and they say, oh, you did this, I'm suing you. Okay, well, at the end of the day, what we have is someone that got injured and someone that accidentally caused the injury, because nobody's out there like, meh, I'm going to break this pipe so you can hurt yourself, or, especially if there's death involved. That's assuming too much. And that's where you get into the dangerous ideas of having a devil, where, oh yeah, the devil could do that. And then, oh, do you have the devil in you? And, oh, do I have the devil in me? Like, and that's why, I don't know, it's part of the reason that I'm very skeptical about all religions, is because all religions have a concept of the devil, and all religions have a concept that could be you. Not saying that, sorry, that might be too much to pin on all religions, but all religions have different ways of trying to explain things. That's just like the main difference between polytheism and monotheism, is where like many gods explained many different behaviors or actions, like, the wind or the tide, or it's because it's Neptune or Aries, or, like that was their way of explaining things and their beliefs. Like it made so much sense to them that that's what they believed and they stuck by it. And that's why it's so easy to understand other religions. Like, okay, and then monotheism is where everything is the direct result of one entity, one person. And then you're starting to get into things like, okay, like how do they micromanage? Like, is Santa Claus watching me like while I sleep? Like, you know, is Jesus watching me everywhere? And that's why like adult cartoons and adult content have ways of communicating these things, like Family Guy. Peter Griffin constantly talks about religion and stuff, and like, there's this one part, and it could be a meme. People that do a lot of memes have exposure to these things now. But there's that part, meme or idea from Family Guy, brought to you by Carl's Jr. Sorry, the whole copyright thing of like idiocracy. And then you can go look that up too. All of these things I say, you could be like writing them down and then like doing some research and be like, oh, or I should provide links, but it's hard because then I talked about so many things and I don't even know what I was getting into right there. We were talking about problem solving at the base of it, but then in order to really problem solve effectively, you need to understand why problems happen in the first place. So if you're trying to diagnose or troubleshoot a situation, you need to understand what led up to that situation. What's the backstory? And it's easier to say that. It's easier said than understood. There you go. It's easy. I'm going to write that down because I keep saying that. That's going to be a thing. I'm going to put it on like coffee mugs and sell it and make a bunch of money. No, I'm just kidding. But I am going to write it down somewhere, like a tweet, somewhere where it's still, let's see. Uh, and even then, like, uh, sorry, now with that way I was trying to problem solve, I need to add a follow up because otherwise it seems like I'm just too harsh. Like, no, I'm not going to do this. Like, because that's not what I'm trying to say. And it's like, but given my limited time, I'm in the middle of something. It's the weekend, and this is my time anyway. But sorry, and even saying that, that sounds sassy and angry. I'm just saying like these are the reasons. But then at the same time, and granted, like it's already understood. Oh, sorry. This is more of like a private blah blah blah. I hate the idea of private discussions. Like, if you got something to say, it could all be. And the unfortunate thing is, not everybody has the resources, the bandwidth, the time, the effort, the sanity. Like, you can burn out. Like, people, entire things. Yeah. Whew. Sorry. Things that you need to be aware of, though. And see, that's the other thing, too. Like, I hope there's people from around the world watching these videos and being like, wow, that's how Americans live. Like, I'm not a typical American. I mean, that's an understatement. And my friends would agree, I'm anything but typical. But by that same right, like they do tend to trust my judgment more so than not. The people that know me, they tend to kind of like, I've been in leadership roles. Literally every job I've been in, I've at least had either consideration for leadership or been a leader. I mean, it's just kind of who I am. And not saying like everyone who goes to Boy Scouts as a kid is going to be the best for each situation, but it's going to make it a better chance that they'll know what they're doing. And then you keep compounding things on. It's like we should all walk around with like our qualifications, and then that way we can understand. Well, boom, there you go. Like it's kind of weird, but that whole George Orwell thing, like if you have a profile, then at a glance, like discreetly, somebody can check you out or look at you and be like, oh, okay, this is who they are. This is what their qualifications are. And, a lot of people do it. Most of it's like hackers or employers or law enforcement. Those are like the main three camps. Oh, and there's my alarm. So we'll go a couple minutes over because this is an important thought to figure out. So you got to remember that your information is protected, yes, but you need it to be accessible by the people that matter. But then where do you draw the line? So that's why I trust Google with just about everything because they do. They have access to my money, my phone, like they are my phone. They gave me my phone. So, but I trust them because there's a lot of eyes and a lot of checks and balances. Like you think the United States government with three checks and balances is like almighty and powerful enough. Like we've been doing okay with three checks and balances. Like granted, a lot of stuff doesn't get done or it takes a long time to get anything done, but it's like a safer approach. I don't know. And so, smack. Like, oh, now I'm like, oh gosh, are they watching? No. Hold on. In Google, Microsoft, and all these big tech companies, you have a bunch of sets of eyes on everything. So they have a very tight ship, but at the same time, they're very relaxed and dynamic and fluid, just like any system. So the short answer is yes, we're okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And this is why, and that's why like I don't know. I just keep making these videos because I'm okay. I'm good. I'm feeling good, confident, comfortable with things. Little worried about Ukraine and Russia. Like, who's not? But and even that, like right there, like it's not fair to just bring them up and say, okay, there, you need to slack. But like it's not fair to just bring up these names and throw around these buzzwords without a lot of follow-up because this is a life and death situation for them. And that's why it's so heated. And I don't know. And then it's like, oh, the money. So then it's a perceived life or death situation for you because you don't have enough resources. You got to pay money anyways. And now, like, this evil person is making you pay more. Yeah. So that's politics in a nutshell. And why problem solving is more important, or is more important, most important, why it is important. Anyways, that's my time. I will see you in the next one. Ta ta.